Well, this morning I want to talk to you about a love like no other. And I want to do it in the context of today, which is Mother's Day, which is a day of celebration when we recognize the significance of our mothers. Whether your mother's here or long gone or in a different place or a different experience of life's journey, we have this opportunity just to recognize mothers and the important role that they play in our life. Mothers have that capacity to love us deeper than almost anyone else. Dads are pretty good, but mom's love is just kind of different, and they don't have to work it up. As soon as that baby is born and they place it on your chest, there is this connection that is made that is very deep and very rich. Helen Rice said, "A mother's love is patient and forgiving when all others are forsaking. It never fails or falters, even though the heart is breaking." And so mother's love is a special kind of love. And if you thought that a love like no others is about mother's love this morning, you'd be close. But you wouldn't be correct. You'd be close because God has given mothers this especially deep capacity to love, but mother's love is limited. And mother's love is very specific. Guess to who? To their children, right? And lo and woe to you if you try to defy a mother's love. You'll get both barrels, and that mother becomes that mother bear that protects her child. But a mother's love is very specific to their children of birth. They don't love other children around them the same way. And that's why a love like no other's, mother's love is close. But the one whose love is like no other, of course, is God. And God's love is totally different than any love that you have encountered in life. Nobody around you, nobody connected with you can give you this kind of love. And Jesus starts this new awareness of a deeper power of love that comes and is possible to people through not individuals around them, but from a source that is beyond them. And Jesus challenges people to try to strive for that kind of love. And God's love is a one-way love. That's what's different than God's love and anybody else's love. It's a one-way love. It's a love that comes from God and flows out to other people. It flows out to you. It flows out to your friends. It flows out to your enemies. And it flows out to all people on the earth. And God does not have any need for you to return that love. And the love still flows out to you. Now, the trouble is the church tries to make it look like that's not true, that God loves those people in the church a little bit more, a little better. But Jesus in this passage says, God causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good and sends rain on the righteous and the unrighteous. Excuse me. And what Jesus is saying here is that God's love is different. God's love just flows. Doesn't pick and choose. Doesn't say, I love you more than I love you, or I love you less than I love her. God's love just flows out to all people because it's one way. And the challenge is, can you and I start to elevate our love? Because in fact, most of us, if not all of us, have a manipulative love. What's a manipulative love? Give me an example. Come on. I'll love you if, right? I'll love you. I'll be glad to love Peter, right? I don't mind loving him, but he's got to love me back, right? If I love Betty over here, that's fine if she'll love me back. But you see, the love that we have, human love, is very, very manipulative. You see it at all levels of relationship. You see it between husbands and wife, right? I'll love Lillian as long as she does what I want her to do, right? For me. right? Or I love my kids as long as they're respectful and grateful for what I do, right? I love my friends. And Jesus says it doesn't work that way, and that's the problem. Jesus said, you know, you've heard it said, love your neighbor as yourself, right? We go, well, that's not so bad. But then he goes, but I say to you, now we're talking about a different love. Love your neighbors, but love your enemies as well. And I'm sure the people that heard this for the first time, just their heads must have been spinning. And the culture today has their heads spinning around this one too. Right? We say, well, love your neighbor. Well, okay, I can do that. Love your annoying relatives. Well, okay, I can do that too, right? You know, love your minister that is trying at times their best. Well, I can do that too. But love your enemies. Love the people that want to hurt me. Love the people that would rather see me dead than be alive. Now, what purpose is that? What am I going to get from that? And the answer is what? What is it? Nope. Nothing. Nothing. If I love my enemies, they're not going to likely change, right? They're still going to want me dead. But God's love says it's a one-way love. It's a love that goes from the source of love itself and to others. And Jesus said, if you're just going to love people that love you, if you're just going to love people you like, don't get up to the pearly gates and go, gee, Lord, I loved Lillian for 40 years. Right? I loved my kids all my life. You know, I even loved Bill for a long time, right? And God's not going to go, great job, Lyle, and give me the big applause. God's going to say, well, anybody does that. You're just going to love people that love you or people that you like or people you get along with. What good is that? He says even, right? Who did that? Tax collectors. People hated tax collectors in Jesus' day. Even tax collectors. And who else? Read along, right? It's on the screen. Who? Pagans, that's right. Even tax collectors and pagans do that. But if you want to be like me, you want to learn how to give that one-way love. A love that has no expectations in return, right? That's the hard part for us. It is hard, right? And we see it in relationships. You see it in the church, right? Everybody loves me until, right? Everybody loves me until I challenge you to something deeper. Or we change something that you love. And then what happens? I'm out of here, buddy. Right? I'll have nothing to do with you. And that's because the love you and I have, unfortunately, is a one-way love. And the challenge for us is that's in the culture. You know, we hear lots about Donald Trump. What made Donald Trump get in? It's because the people who voted didn't have this one-way love. We want to keep people out, right? And you hear it in Canada. Why are we paying for those refugees, right? We sponsor them, but then they're going to be on our dollar, right, after a year. Then we have to pay for them, right? We shouldn't keep them out. We need that money for ourselves. We need them for our children. And God says, if you want to be like me, you want to try to strive for one-way love. And it is incredibly, incredibly hard. And in fact, you do not have the ability unless you are connected to the source. See, God is the source of love. In 1 John, 4th chapter, verse 16, it says, God is love. God is the source of love. And whoever lives in love lives in God. You see, I can only love Sheila if she returns the love from me, if I don't have the source of love in me. Right? And that's why we get into this manipulative love. But Jesus said if you connect with the source, then you can love Lyle even when he changes programs, even when he does things you don't like. You don't have to leave the church. You don't have to stop being connected with him, because you have this source of love that flows through you and out into the lives of others. And if only the church people could get that. And it's hard, because most of the time I just want the love returned. But Jesus said you want to find the source. You want to be connected with that source and allow that source to move through you to others. And so how do you do that? Well, it's not as hard as you think. To be connected to the source means just start thinking about God. Not just on Sunday morning when you come to worship, but every morning when you wake up. Think about the spiritual part of life. Think about the big picture. You know, big picture seers don't get distracted by little bumps in the road, little problems in our life. And God says, if you want to encounter the source, if you want to be connected with me, take some time to think. If you get wild and crazy, pray. If you get really wild and crazy, you might even open the Bible and read something. But to be connected to the source, you have to think about God. And when you think about God, here's the amazing thing that happens, is that God comes to you in love, and you begin to encounter a love like no other. And that's your challenge today. Whether you're a mother, you're a father, you're a husband or a wife, you're a friend or a brother or sister, it is to find a way to connect to the source so that God's love, which never runs out, right? Do you remember the song? Your what? Love never fails. It what? Never gives up, right? We don't sing that song just because it's a fun song. We sing it because it has an incredible message in it. Because it's saying if you connect to the source, you'll never run out of love. You'll never run out of love. And now you can go and love the tough folks, like people in the church you don't like and don't agree with, like people in the community that you struggle with. And the amazing thing is that you encounter the one who loves like no other. This morning, may this not just be another nice service that you flow through and go out for the rest of the day. Excuse me. But may it be a love that starts changing you. Just like when Jesus told this story, don't just love your neighbors, love the people who hate you. And may it transform you to, first of all, to encounter the one who loves you like no other. And then may it give you the ability to encounter and live out that one-way love into all the people around you. And let all the people say, may it be as it has been spoken.